Yes, we're going to talk about Marnie Yang and Company. You can call it that. It's a double murder that happened in Chicago. It has been, and I was on the show. 2020 did it, right? In fact, I did the interview during the trial, and the trial was over very shortly. And I got to appear on 2020 to start with. And then Snapped came up a little while after that, and I appeared on the show and gave my opinions on Snapped, which was a year or so ago voted as the 15th most popular Snapped show ever shown. And that, I guess, that preluded all the popularity of you hear the quotation marks in my voice of this particular murder, which of course involves the Chicago Bears also. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And I forgot, I appeared on True Crime. I appeared on I was going to appear on 2020 2-hour show strictly on Marnie Yang, but COVID was hitting, and they didn't want me to fly to Chicago, and I did not want to fly to Chicago with COVID, so they merely used my photos and video instead. Then I was also sent to Memphis by Jupiter Productions for CNN Headline News, which shows different programming, for their show Vengeance, which is very similar show to Snapped. And I got to spend the night in Memphis, Tennessee because of that. And then again, they wanted 2020. They contacted me last Friday. They wanted to sign over the rights for the video. So we did that electronically, where they could use the video this past Monday. I do not show the video. I don't have it on any website. I think I have it on hard drive. I'm not sure. I know I've got it on about 3 different CDs recorded on that, where I can draw it up. If everybody knows what that is, before all the electronic data. Yes, I have it on CD, or 3 of them. So I have backup to a backup to a backup. But I'm still not loading it on any website anywhere, because some people still want it. Just like ABC 2020, the mouse wants something, I give it to them because they give me a check. Anyway, we're going to talk about Marnie Yang tonight, and we're going to be talking with Greg Koss. Greg Koss is about ready. So I tell you what, we are going to go ahead and go to the intro. Bones, hit the intro.
Warning, the following video contains strong language which may be offensive to some viewers and or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Southern Fried Paranormal with Len Dorman featuring Bones. Catch us on Spotify, iHeart, iTunes, Spreaker, Facebook, Stream, and everywhere else you catch your podcasts. And of course, WLFE-DB.com. Now, from the backwoods of southeast Arkansas, right beside the Bayou Bartholomew, the longest bayou on the planet, broadcasting from downtown metropolitan Cane Creek Township, here is your host, Len Dorman.
All right, I'm here. I'm live. Hey, I hope when Red Cross is alive, because we're going to bring in just a second. As I say every week, the music that I play occasionally they let me use their music. If you want to go to their website, go to the website and YouTube. If you give them a donation, of course. Feel bad about going into a museum without giving a donation. I feel bad for using somebody else's copyrighted music without a donation. So I do have permission. So Facebook, YouTube, I have rights for that. All right, let's get on with the program and bring on Red Cross.
Hey, Len, how you doing?
All right, how are you?
Good, good. Good to see you. Or not see you, but good to be here.
Yeah, I checked the internet before I got on tonight.
Yeah.
In other words, about 15 minutes ago, and I had slightly less than 2 upload speed.
Oh, boy.
In other words, if I tried to fire up a camera, you're going to get nothing. You won't understand anything I say.
Right.
So this way I get out. Like last week, I had a tremendous upload speed of over 6. So I went with my studio computer, which has a webcam, and I did fine. No issues. But I've got to have over 3, and I like to have 3.5 before I try to fire up the studio computer with the webcam. And unless I got 3.5, I'm not even going to try it. I'm just going to do my desktop, and you have to look at me sitting in Bachelor's Grove.
You know what? That's not a bad place to have a picture taken either, is it?
No. You remember Carl, right?
Oh, yeah.
He took that picture.
Yep. I know. I haven't seen Carl in probably 2 years now. I saw him at a metaphysical fair on down near Niles, I think it was, about a year ago. Him and I can't remember her name either.
D?
No. His girlfriend.
Wendy.
Yeah.
Wendy lives in New England.
And they were working the table. And there were a lot of people there, and for those people that haven't been to a metaphysical show, it's really a great place to go if you got nothing to do. And you can go ahead and you can get pretty much any necklaces or bracelets or anything that deal with protection and things like that from spirits. And so it's just pretty cool. I've always enjoyed them. I always enjoy talking to the people, and then they have the people with the crazy things, which I'm not even going to bring up. But I do believe. I've been a believer for a long time, and these are some of my people. And there's, you got the good and you got the bad, just like anybody else. So
this is true.
You got to figure out where yours are at, and then take it from there.
That's it.
Last I
heard about Wendy, she moved to New England, got married.
You're kidding?
No, I'm not kidding at all. She got married just a few months ago. Carl, as far as I can tell, is completely out of the paranormal and is back in his biker ways, which is home for him.
Well,
he was always much more of a biker than a paranormal investigator.
Right.
And I believe he went back to his roots. And he a man's got to do what a man's got to do. And if that's what he wants to do, by golly gee whiz, go do it.
Yep.
I'm not faulting either one of them. I'm not saying,
No.
I'm not saying I have a problem with them. I don't. I'm just saying where they are.
Where'd she go to in New England? Did she say?
Uh, I did not care. I did not dig into it. I just heard she moved to the New England area, was engaged. Then next thing I know, I heard Wendy got married. I said,
Wow.
to the guy in New England? Yes. Okay. That's all I wanted to know. And that's all I can say. That's what I heard. She was remarried to
Yeah.
a guy in New England. And that's why the Path to Bachelor's Grove.com site has not been updated in 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, because she's not there.
She's not there. Probably completely out of it. Doesn't even want to remember that thing. I wish she turned the passwords over to somebody else who could upkeep that site, because she dug up some excellent information.
Oh, she was. She always had great info.
Yes, she did a lot of work on the info that's on that site. She would make somebody a good researcher on any paranormal team.
Oh yeah. And since she's gone up to the East Coast up there, boy, she's right in the thick of it there too.
Yeah. If she had any desire to get back in the paranormal, she's in the right location to do that. And anybody would be a fool that had a paranormal group not to add her to the group as a researcher.
Right. If she wanted to go ahead and get back in it.
But all they can do is ask, and if she doesn't want to get back into it, she can turn them down. That's her right too, as a human being.
I know that when I first met her, and every time I saw her, she always remembered me. She remembered my name, and she remembered the fact that, I was with Dale's group. So, back then, and it was like, well, and she was a very accommodating individual. She was a very, very decent woman, and she really liked her antiques and everything like that too.
Yep.
And that sort of carried her.
That is part of her persona. You may not know this, but she, during Bike Week in Daytona years ago, won, in fact, was a champion, I think, 1 year of the coleslaw or oil wrestling in Daytona at Bike Week.
You're kidding.
No.
Oh, that's too bad. I'm sorry to hear that.
That was when she was very young. She also, at a Bike Week again, I think she said she placed second in the arm wrestling competition.
Well, that's good. It's a good thing to know in case I ever run into her.
Wendy is not a person you want to get in a fight with.
No, you don't. Since you can't do anything back anyway to begin with.
Yeah.
Then you give her all the advantages.
Yeah. Yeah, if a woman hits a man, he should just walk away.
If he can.
If he can. That was covered. If you watch Yellowstone, that was covered in one of the seasons on Yellowstone. You had the brother hit the sister, and he said, "You don't think I'm a man?" She said, "A man," because he popped her back.
Wow.
And she just, are you thinking me as less of a man? She said, "A man would have walked away."
Was that the redhead?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she popped him 2 or 3 times, and she said, a man would have walked away instead of hitting her back.
Yeah, that one has all the answers.
Yeah. Then the dad just ended the whole thing later, a day or so later, and he said, he just casually mentioned, we're talking, he said, "If you ever hit your sister again, I'm going to put your head through a wall."
Oh, God.
And that's somebody else you don't want to fight is Kevin Costner. I don't want to fight that man either.
No, he's getting pretty old now, Len.
Yeah.
It's like Steve McQueen.
Oh, yeah. So, what do we want to do tonight?
Well, I don't know where our friend went. And I did call him, and I did leave another message, and I left him a voice message, and I left him a regular message. And this is very disappointing, but
I'm betting he decided to take a 20-minute nap, and it went a little bit longer.
well, you never can tell. We'll see what comes of it.
Okay. I did find out some interesting information.
Okay.
As you saw the picture.
Right.
Let's see. First, the banner, some of the questions I want to cover tonight. The gentleman in the center picture, the guy, that is Sean Gale.
Right.
Above it is Ronnie Ryder, the person who was the victim. And by the way, I was absolutely correct. I did remember she was 7 months pregnant, which is why she was guilty of murder 1, and she was also guilty of infanticide 1. So that's why she got a life sentence.
Oh.
No parole. That's her mug shot right beside the two of their shots in the center.
There is a coincidence. They look similar compared to the one that was
okay.
Was her name
Marnie?
Carrie or Marnie Yang?
Marnie Yang. Well, you can see that right here on the banner I put up with your.
Yeah.
We can tell who you are.
I don't want to have anything to do with either one of them.
No. Marnie looks like she's got some pretty good sized arms, but remember she's only 5 foot. 5'1" or so. Now, here's the one you don't want to have me to mess with, and that was another girl. That is our little Polish lady. She, Monika Kurowska, I believe, is, you got to get that strong middle vowel sound into it for a Polish name instead of ski. It's Kurowska. And she is doing quite well in the Chicagoland area still, making a pretty good living, I heard. But she was looked at, and she come up with an absolute ironclad alibi where the police were no longer questioning her. She was no longer a subject.
Did they say what the alibi was?
No, they did not. They may have in court, but I wasn't there in court. But whatever it was convinced the police that it was an absolutely ironclad alibi, and they no longer spoke to her. Even though Sean Gale said she had something was wrong with her, and okay, let me just read it, okay?
Okay.
Instead of speculating. Some of the questions being asked are Monika Kurowska and Sean Gale married? No, they were not. They dated for a while in 2006. Their relationship had lasted for 6 months. Their bonding became weak and ultimately fell to betrayal. Monika did not. She was one of monogamous. She saw her as a boyfriend. Saw him as a boyfriend, and she was angry when she caught Sean cheating on her.
Right.
Gail even claimed she used to stalk him and once busted the window in his house. She's kind of secretive. She was born in Poland. The exact birth details are hidden. She's not mentioned anything about her parents or family background, so none of her background is available anywhere. You do a search on her, you're not going to get much. Basically, you get the photo I posted, and that's about it. She is a group fitness instructor. I'm not going to name the place. But she's in the Chicagoland area still. And she was the subject until they split up. Now,
Wow.
several questions that you were asking me specifically, and I thought it was 7 months. Ronnie Router was 7 months old, several months pregnant when she was murdered. Ronnie, according to her brother, was kind of confused about the whole thing because she thought they had a monogamous relationship. So, see, this was two women that Sean Gale was supposedly having a monogamous relationship with.
Wow.
Gale, however, told ABC News that the two of them had an open relationship and monogamy was not expected. So there was a little fibbing going around there somewhere.
Yeah. It's got to be the guy that was in the sandbox, right?
Mm-hmm. Gale was the chief suspect. Of course, they always look for the boyfriend.
Right.
So they in this case, fiance. So they immediately called him, and he was in his car, answered the phone, and he was shocked. Call it good acting. He put on. Apparently, people said he was really shocked and hurt, and was actually crying on the phone. So he's either a good actor, or he was seriously shocked. And sometimes you got to take a man at his word.
Yeah.
Find out otherwise. Sean Gale, immediately thought it might be Monica Koroska. Because Gale showed threatening letters he's been receiving anonymously, and the letters claim that Gale had as many as 18 girlfriends. Ronnie Router and her mother received the letters, and it devastated Ronnie, of course. But she stood by his side in court when he filed a restraining order against Monica.
You're kidding.
No, she was standing right there with him. And Koroska put this out. Monica Koroska put these out. And there was the letter was in the purse when they searched the apartment on the day of her murder. So, they wanted to ask her, but she come up with an ironclad alibi. You can't argue with that. The police couldn't, so I certainly cannot. And here is my part in this story. Marnie Yang, divorced mother of 3, and they're saying she posed as a real estate agent to Sean Gale. They investigated her a little bit. This doesn't smell right. And they discovered that Gale was her only client. She stalked him online, and that she had hacked Ronnie's computer. Prosecutors say she was had become obsessed with him and learned about Ronnie was pregnant and murdered her. That was the intent of the whole thing. That's when Christy Pachin, her friend, agreed to wear a wire. Had heard these things. They'd gone to the police, and they said, "Let's put you on a wire." And they had to wire. They wired her once. They said, "Listen to us. This is nothing we can go to court with yet. Can you talk her to go back to Denny's, wearing a wire, and get her to talk a little bit more?" And that's when she started saying what happened to the gun, putting the bucket, put concrete on it, put a body of water. The judge even mentioned the methodical, meticulous, and maniacal. How do you pronounce it when you're a maniac? Maniacal manner in which she committed this crime. So the judge was absolutely convinced she did it.
Yeah, but they didn't have a weapon, right?
He didn't have a weapon. He didn't have a witness to the shooting.
Right.
All they had was somebody who saw a black male running away from the crime scene. Not how tall they were, not how big they were, but it's all black male because Marnie admitted on the wire that she had gotten a black wig, to cover up her rather impressive. I mean, I'll throw a picture up here real quick.
Yeah.
Rather impressive head of hair.
Yeah.
She stuffed that hair somehow under a black wig where she had short black hair that looked like, and she darkened her face so she looked like a black, in hands, so she looked like a black man running down the street in a hoodie.
Yes, that part's crazy.
The whole situation's crazy. I mean, here's a picture of Monica Koroska, and you can kind of see the similarities between all three women.
Yes.
See, there's Monica. There's a picture of Roni, a small picture on the right side. And you see the picture of Marnie on the far side, or the picture I just tossed up.
Right.
Here's another one. So they all kind of looked alike. When I used to do fitness photography and used to do bodybuilding. And when I say do bodybuilders, I mean shoot them, not with the camera, not with the gun, but with a camera. And you call people who like women like that smokes. Apparently, Sean Gale was a smoke. He liked his women a little bit on the muscular side. It's not a big knock. Alex Rodriguez likes them the same way.
Huh.
He
I
dated
didn't
several
know.
Hollywood. Yeah, he said he dated several. Rodriguez dated several women, Hollywood actresses, but all of them had worked out for a part in movies and maintained their workout. So
Yeah.
he called them people to smoke. Sean Gale was a smoke. He was also a playboy, dating up to 15 to 18 women at one time. And something about him, after all the court cases were over,
Mm-hmm.
he went to work as a sports broadcaster in London.
In London, England?
In London, England.
Boy, he really wanted to get out of Dodge, didn't he?
He wanted to get out of Dodge. He wanted to get out of Kansas. He not only left Dodge, he left the country. So the whole thing reeks. You want to know the story about how I got involved in this mess?
Sure.
Okay. As I just said earlier, Marnie Yang, another shot. Obviously into fitness. She was also in real estate. We went to a real estate meeting. My first time. She'd been there before. Went in, and it was in the warehouse district in Chicago. Now, where I forget the street name, but it's one of those areas where you got these 4 and 5 story warehouses they let you rent out to live in now.
Yeah.
The guy that ran the thing, well, he'd got quite a bit of money as a real estate. I think he owned the building. I'm not sure. Was teaching other people real estate and could see what a deal would occur. Oh, this house is being foreclosed on. These people are losing their mortgage or whatever. And he was trying to teach other people that and trying to get things he can make money, angles he can make money on. So once a month he'd have these meetings. So I went to one. Walked in the building, and you've known me long enough to know that if I see something old, I'm going to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
And if it moves, I'm going to ride it. Had one of those old elevators that was probably 120, 130 years old. One of those cage things where you've got to pull the handle.
Cage door.
Yep. Cage all the way around.
Okay.
And just had a handle there that you pull up to go up. And because it won't stop right on the floor. It just stops whenever you release the handle.
Yeah.
And it was slow. Let me tell you something. That one, the elevator was slow. I mean slow.
Where was the location on that?
I forget the street. It was on the north side of Chicago, like I said, in the warehouse district where they're selling a lot of those buildings for loft. So I rode the elevator up, and it was so slow, just going up one floor, that Marnie had pulled up, apparently after I'd walked in, got out, went up the flight of stairs that was there. So she got upstairs to the second floor before I did, because I was in this slow elevator. I noticed she was walking to the door, and I thought he said he was the only one on the second floor. So I thought, oh, she's in the meeting with me. She opened the door, and of course, being a gentleman, I reached over her head, because remember, I'm 5'9". She was only 5'1", if that, and pushed the door open for her. She turns around, looks at me, but she doesn't look at me in the face. She doesn't look at me in the chest. She's looking straight below my belt buckle. First thing she checked out. Looked straight at the crotch. And she said, hi, thanks, and who are you? I said, Lynn. I could ask the same thing of you. What are you doing here, and who are you? I'm here to figure out some real estate. Marnie. Okay. So we went in. It looked like we were together, walking in the door at the same time. So we talked a little bit, sat around, everybody, to get to know people who've been the first time. What do you do? And I said, I take photos of sports women. So that piqued Marty's interest more than the real estate was. Then he went around and said, of the people who had been there for a while, he said, you newcomers, just pay attention. You old folks, talking about people who've been there going to other meetings, I'll just go in order and tell me what you've got, if you've got anything to talk about real estate. So he got to Marnie, do you have anything? No, I have nothing. And I thought that was a little strange for somebody supposedly in real estate to say. Yeah. When she came to the house for the photo shoot, which I thought was very strange, if you're a big shot in real estate, are you going to drive 3/4 of the length, in fact, a little bit further, actually from Deerfield, but are you going to drive 3/4 or more the length of Chicago for a $100 photo shoot if you're a big shot in real estate?
Right.
So that's what she came out all the way to the house for. She shot several different outfits. Here's a white one. And here's the black one. And there was a couple of the outfits I'm not going to bother showing right now. But she changed each time in the bathroom in my basement. When we were done, we said, okay, we were done. I started turning off. The lights were kind of warm. So I started turning off the lights, making sure everything was stored on the camera. And was packing my camera up, wasn't paying attention to her. She did not go into the bathroom to change back into her street clothes. She was changing them and taking all her clothes off, her shoe clothes off, in the middle of the basement, and promptly posed on the back of a couch in the basement, totally nude.
Oh, God.
And I said, okay, how am I going to wiggle out of this? Gail, as she usually did, saved my little hairy butt by hitting the bolt on the door and unlocking it. which is only about 4 steps up from where I was standing, and started coming in the door. I said, "Marnie, Gail's home," and she went from naked to dressed, coat on and everything, before Gail got downstairs to the basement. All she had to do was finish opening the door, unlocking the door, walking down 5 steps, opening the door to the basement. And in that amount of time, Marty got completely dressed, including coat and shoes, went from naked to wintertime clothing, and ran past Gail, even though Gail said, "Hey," she knew what was going on. She said, "Hey, Marty," as Marty was running up the stairs.
Right.
And she was out of that house just that quick. She didn't want any part of Gail.
That's crazy.
So that's how I got involved in this and ended up being interviewed on 2020 on during the trial. It ended up appearing on one of the more popular Snapped episodes. Yes, I'm on there, along with photos and video. Then I thought, like, when I came down here, that'd be the end of it. I wouldn't, so that's all the money I'm going to make out of this. True Crime contacted me, and I said, "Okay, I'm going to Little Rock to have my knee checked out on this date." It was exactly a week after I had my left knee replaced. They said, "We'll be on this hotel. It's a block down the street," and they were right. They treated me right. The hotel was a block from my doctor, so I just went to Little Rock about 3 hours ahead of time. Hung around the hotel, ate some of their lunch stuff they had sitting around, and got interviewed for, what was that one?
True Crime.
That was True Crime, right. And then later on, during COVID, 2020 called again. They wanted to use the pictures and the video for a 2-hour special on this trial. They were going to bring me up to Chicago, but COVID started getting really serious, and they didn't want to bother flying me up from Little Rock to Chicago. And I didn't want to be around that many people because, COVID.
Right.
Because I was going to suggest, paying me just paying my train fare to and from. Because I can go east about 40 miles and catch an Amtrak. It's right to Chicago.
Well.
And that's what I was going to suggest, but we decided, no, let's not do this because of COVID. So the video and my photos appeared. I thought that was the end of it. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, Jupiter Productions calls me. They want the rights for one showing of both the video and the photos, and they wanted me to question me. I said, "Well, I'm down here in Arkansas now." I said, "Well, our offices are in Nashville." So I said, "Yeah, let's meet halfway. Let's go to Memphis." And they happened to have a team that was going through Memphis, headed back to Nashville. So they said, "Okay, we'll spend the night in Memphis if you want us to." So they stayed in one 5-star hotel. The wife and I stayed in another 5-star hotel. And I was quizzed for about an hour. And that show aired, as Vengeance aired on CNN Headline News, because they've gotten away from news and doing specials.
Did you see who's here? Not to change the subject.
Oh yeah, I saw him when he popped in.
Okay. Good to see you, Reggie. I'm glad you woke up. Reggie. You don't have to keep her on mute, do you? So you got a bunch of questions they ask?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
No.
Are you asking me?
You talking to me?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, I'm like down in flames right now, pretty much.
You're down in flames?
Yeah.
I don't see no smoke.
Yeah.
Oh, you're shot?
Yeah,
We're just discussing everything to set it up so that when we do the next one, we can go right into the spirit box business. And we can do the same thing we did earlier today as far as trying to come up with some sort of names and that. There was a John. I don't know if I had told you that or not, Len, but there was a John
Yes.
and a Johnny, and then there was a something about tickets. I don't know what the heck that was. What did you have, Reg?
What's that?
What did you have that you picked up?
I haven't went through the recording yet.
Okay.
Exactly. But I'm quite certain that Ronnie came through.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
I heard her name.
Well, he had, like what Len was saying, he had like 18 girlfriends. I mean, he could get lost real easy. Nobody would even know where he was. It'd take quite a while to figure out where he went.
Marty knew that their relationship was not monogamous, but Ronnie and Monica both thought they were in monogamous relationships.
God.
And it's just crazy. I guess that's what happens when you win a Super Bowl. In fact, you score a touchdown in a Super Bowl game. I forgot to mention Sean Gale was a member of the 1985
Chicago Bears.
Bears.
One of the last big notes we've had for quite some time.
Mm-hmm. Football, anyway. I mean, the Cubs have won the World Series, and the White Sox have won since then.
Yeah.
And the Blackhawks, what they do? Put 3 in a row together or something?
Yeah. Stanley
Cups.
Right. And now they're totally dismantled.
Yeah, the White Sox dismantled themselves, and they're not going to have much of anything. They'll be in last place in their division this year, and they're trying to get a new stadium built.
Well, both of them are.
Those,
I can't see the Cubs. Between the Bears and the Blackhawks, I think you're going to see the Blackhawks stay exactly where they're at.
What's wrong with United Center?
Nothing.
Except maybe the neighborhood. If they'd improve the neighborhood, it might be a better place.
Right. The venue is always extraordinary. The money that's made is phenomenal. Not only, well, now it's not because they're not playing very good, but the Bulls play there.
Yeah.
So I mean, the Bulls are playing decent basketball. People are coming in to watch. A lot more people are watching basketball than they are ice hockey. But I grew up with that team, so down in the old stadium. And I used to skate with them when I was a kid.
Oh, really?
My father was friends with Rudy Pillis, who was the coach of the 61, 62, 63, when Reggie Fleming was a young guy, and that's Christopher Fleming's brother or father. I used to skate with him, and I knew him from Rolling Meadows after I came back from overseas and started working for the post office. And Reggie Fleming and Randy Huntley both were working at the bank in Rolling Meadows. And I used to see these guys at lunchtime and have lunch with them, and it was just crazy. Reggie Fleming, was an enforcer. I used to do Sunday mornings with him. I was in Pee Wees, and I was going to go to juniors, and I would every Sunday morning during the season, I had the opportunity to go skate with them, and I did usually. So it was really a lot of fun, and I
Did
got
you
I got to meet all of them.
mm, did you ever know Joe Delisle? He was an enforcer for one of the teams.
Joe Delisle
Yes, I
for
forget what team he was on, but he was an enforcer for it.
I
I I used to work with him basically for him. That was
I
interesting.
no, I used to like to beat the shit out of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the big thing. Is and I don't think I was in. I think I was only in like 3 or 4 fights. I had one where I got my right eye, pretty tore up, but uh, and then towards the end, the last time I got in a fight, I picked it with the guy that had one of the first helmets on. So I literally busted open my knuckles on both of my hands from hitting him in the head, thinking I was hurting him, and he just had his hands up over his face.
I never got in a fight playing baseball. Sometimes I'd have the catcher stand in front of me, but I never charged them out. Some of them thought I would charge them out because I was a plate hog. My toes would be just 3 or 4 inches away from the plate. Where if they threw it outside, it was in the sweet spot for me. If they threw it inside for a strike, uh, they were going to hit me if I wasn't careful. And I got hit a few times. I got no way to stop that, but I like to bunt too.
Did you?
Oh yeah, I love to bunt.
That's a lost art.
Oh yeah, and I was very very good at it. Of course, even my last year of play when I was 37, I was still the fastest person in the league from home to first.
You're kidding.
I beat out most bunts. Me throwing a sacrifice bunt down. The last year I played, I think I put down 1 or 2 that was a sacrifice bunt. The rest of them were bunt singles.
Holy crap.
I was that fast.
And who did you play for?
I was a team in Georgia. It was a unaffiliated team. So when the big strike hit in '91, we had
Awesome.
scouts. We had scouts in the stands looking at us, getting some people out of our league to play in the major league cities, but they changed their mind at the last minute.
Wow.
They were looking at one pitcher. They came down to this one pitcher. He was throwing 95, 96 miles an hour.
That's enough to blow your arm out.
Yeah, and they were the scouts, and they're looking at him thinking, okay, this is a good guy to start in a major league city. But that speed, well, oh yeah, we got a pitcher that throws 95 miles an hour. That put butts in the seats in a baseball game. then I promptly got on base of him 3 out of 4 times.
We gotta ask Reggie if he's got any questions. Do you have any questions, Reggie?
No, not offhand.
Is there anything that you heard earlier that would lead you in a different direction than what you've been saying?
I have to go over the audio
Okay.
because I'm not sure
Okay.
offhand.
Are we going to be able to have this done for next week? And we'll get together with one next weekend. Is that okay with you?
One more time.
One more time, what?
What were you asking?
Will we be able, or will you be able to have that done for next week so that when we get together for the show with Len again, we have those answers? Plus, we're going to have to do another session live. At least 2, 1 or 2.
I'm not sure how much time I have.
Okay.
I'm going to try. I really will try. But
okay.
Well,
like 47 hours a week at work right now.
Reggie, for one thing, the other shows where we're just going to discuss it, I've actually got guests for the next few Thursdays in a row. So we can basically set up a show if you want to do it live, or record a show at your convenience.
Oh, okay.
Of what we find.
Okay.
And then whenever Len gets some time, we'll just go on and we can comment on what we're bringing.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Because
This is just so you know. I mean, I don't know what my schedule is going to be, but this is the 14th of March.
yeah, for another hour.
The 19th of April is the last day of the bowling season leagues. All the leagues are over with by the 19th of April.
So that's when is that when the Easter Bunny hands out all the eggs at the bowling alley?
So
I'm
talking about my time.
He didn't like that. He didn't like that. You see
you're throwing me off, Greg. I'm too tired.
I just couldn't resist that. You know that.
Anybody who's seen me bowl would think that I've got a giant Easter egg and put some holes in it and tried to roll an Easter egg end over end down the bowling alley. That's my bowling.
Oh God.
Yeah,
I'm one of the few people who almost got a strike in the wrong lane.
Oh no.
I finished out the season this year after I've been bowling for 41 years now, and I had
It's only 43.
I had my highest average I've ever bowled in my life this year. Okay. It's been going up like a pin a year every year.
So what is your average?
Well, I finished out this year with 217.
I thought you were going to say
my goal was 220, but.
And how many games was that?
This season was this league here was 75 games.
Holy shit!
That's a lot of games.
And I averaged 217.
That's not bad. That's far better than my absolute best.
Were they all in your home alley there?
Yeah.
Okay, they were all there.
Yeah.
So you could have oiled your lanes entirely different, right?
No, I wouldn't have done that.
No, you wouldn't.
I would never done that. In fact,
I don't think I believe you, Reggie.
I bowl on my day off. But
yeah, he's a real great bowler, Len.
I see a lot better than I ever was.
The last time I bowled,
this ring you're always seeing here, this one here is a 299 ring.
Yeah. How about that?
Cool.
One pin, you got to mount the pin to the top of the stone, the one that screwed the whole friggin' thing up.
I've come within one strike like 4 or 5 times this year.
What, a perfect game?
Yeah, I've had a 278 and like 3 or 4 279s this year.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
Yes, it is.
You know, we bowled in the mixed league. We were married and we were home. And I think I was home for like 2 years and I was still drinking, but I enjoyed bowling. And a real close friend of mine, one of the guys that played high school ball with me, him and we bowled on a mixed league, us and our wives. And they called me Rocket Man because I had a straight ball. Straight. No curve to it at all. I just went right down. And if I was right in the groove there, they just got exploded all over the place. And we bowled that year. Margie got pregnant. Margie was pregnant. And by the time we had our last game, she could literally take the bowling ball and put it on top of her stomach and rest it. And she'd walk down to the lane, and she literally would drop it. And the ball would go boom, 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 like that. And then it would go boom, 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 boom. You know what she bowled that night?
What?
Her first game, she bowled like a 37. The second game, she bowled a 203.
Damn.
And then it was like, get her a candy bar, get her something. Got her a candy bar. She came back and she bowled a 31. And our bowling balls and our brand new cases and everything else went up in the attic upstairs in this house in 1976. And we just pulled them down last year.
Wow.
The cases were basically almost gone. I had a beer can collection up there that was in these paper bags, and the bags were like ash. You'd grab the top, and the whole bag would just disintegrate.
Wow!
But the cans were awesome. So I have a grandson that's got most of what I had up there, but they were all European ones from when we went over to Europe. And I don't even remember what year it was. We had like, I think 7 weeks we were there. And we were in Munich for 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. We were in Rome, Florence, Venice, Salzburg, Austria, Heidelberg, Germany. Munich was the highlight because that was Oktoberfest. And I never seen anything. You know, the commercial they have on TV where they show that one girl that picks up all those beer steins. Have you seen that?
If you're talking to me, oh yes.
Yeah. You know, have you ever seen that in person?
I've seen something smaller. It was an American girl. Of course, I'd never been in Germany, but most she could carry. I think she had 7 or 8, which is nothing compared to the German girl.
Right, and plus the German girls all have liter mugs.
Yeah.
So that's quite a bit of beer, and I don't know how they picked them up, but she would come. That whole entire, they had 7 different tents. They were different German manufacturers, beer people. Lowenbrau was one of them, and outside the tent he had this huge lion, and his head would go back, and he would roar, and then all of a sudden this beer would come up, and he would drink the beer.
Wow, that must have been an incredible experience.
And inside the tent, now get this, inside the tent, the center of the tent was like a boxing ring. And that's where the bands would play from. So all the bands, the Papa bands would go up there, and they would play their music from there. And you'd be in these tables that would be like 100 people long.
Wow.
It was nuts. And then, you know, when you went to the bathroom, you know, you'd go into where the men's room was, or, you know, and you'd walk in there and all you had was a wall and a drain. And you'd pee on the wall.
Sounds like Wrigley Field.
Yeah, well, they did it in Wrigley Field whether they had bathrooms or not. I can remember Wrigley Field during a Bears game, and my dad, just like the hockey tickets, my dad had friends. He had a friend who had seats in Wrigley Field for the Bears that were in the temporary seats in right field. It was 20 rows up on the 40-yard line and facing west. And they were those bleacher seats. And we used to come in from the right field wall. That door would be open when they played football there. And I've seen God, I've seen them all. I've seen all the legends in football, and I've seen a lot of them up close and personal. I've seen plays happen in games that never happened again. One of them was Roger LeClaire was a punter, and he was the field goal kicker. And he went to try an attempt for a field goal, and he kicked it, and the ball went straight up in the air. The guy that was holding it for him almost caught it, and it went back, and it was a field goal attempt for -8 yards. That's like stuff that you never even, never would even hear. And, and back then the field goal post was at the goal line.
Right.
And it was a single post. And there were guys on the Bears, and I would always pay real close attention to the receivers. And they'd get down about the 8-yard line, and they'd go to throw. And that was Bobby Wade, I think was the quarterback. And back then, these guys didn't really throw the ball halfway as good as the guys do today. It was antiquated. It was outside. It wasn't the right size. Sometime it didn't float the same way. And these guys would. I saw it. I saw one of them. It wasn't Ditka. It was another tight end, and I can't remember who it was, but he went ahead and he ran. He went down 5. They were at about the 10-yard line. He went down 5 yards. He turned around, and he started cutting in towards the goalpost. Oh, he was the fullback. Rick Caceres, maybe, is his name. That's what it was. And he caught the pass on a run. He ran into the goalpost and bounced off it. The whole goalpost was moving back and forth, like a bull had run into it or something. And he stood there for a second and shook his friggin' head.
Well, a fullback is kind of like a bull.
Yeah,
they're big, strong men to be a fullback.
Yeah. I used to love. I played that position for 3 years when I wasn't playing in the secondary. On offense, that was one of my that was my favorite position. I loved to go on sweeps, lead the sweep, and just pulverize the end, because that was your man. As soon as you came out and you started to go on the sweep, you picked the first guy up, and that usually was the end. And they were taller than me, so I could hit him right in the friggin' stomach, and you could hear the air go out of him. I'd hit him so hard, and that's how I got hurt at the end of my senior year. That's how I blew my shoulder out on a play, because we had all these egos between us and a couple of the other backs, and we used to fight a lot. And they used to set up the tires, and you'd have to run through the tires,
Right.
And one of you was going to be the stopper, and the other guy was the one with the ball. And we would do that, and bang, oh man, I came through the hole. It was about maybe 32 degrees, 33 degrees outside. It was the end of the practice, and I came through the hole. And I just didn't like him at all, so I went ahead and I really tried to put a smack on him, and we both smacked each other. We both went down.
Football wise, I played wide receiver until I blew out my right knee.
Oh God, I don't know if
cartilage in it.
Yeah, there's so many things that happen to us during our lives, I actually ruptured my bicep tendon netting the muskie on the chain, fox chain. Honest to God.
I
went
was
to London.
always too small. I was always too small to be on an organized football team. But whenever me and my buddies would play football, I never
you were a little fast guy.
Well, I've never been tackled. Every time that I ran track, I ran track and played baseball.
We catch you. That'll make up for all the times you got away with not getting hit.
Well, no, that's the thing though. I didn't want tackle, so I was always the one that I just always told the quarterback whenever I played with a bunch of friends, and then I'm just going to sprint downfield. You throw it just as hard as you can, and I will catch it. And I would be 30 yards past the closest person to me.
I bet you were fast. You're built for speed. There's other people.
When I was younger, I got drafted into. I started to originally do long distance.
Yeah.
And there was a mile run where there's 13 runners in the race, or 15 runners in the race, and I was in 13th for 3 laps and a half. And on the last 200 yards, I kicked into gear. I knew I only had a half a lap left. I went from 13th to chest, second place across the finish line. And they made me start sprinting too.
Oh no! Because you won, so, you got punished.
I got second. I got second by 1 inch.
Okay, but I mean, they punished you.
Well,
or was it
I'm the only person I know, like that I've ever met, that I went into a junior varsity track meet. It was a varsity track meet. Our junior varsity was allowed to run in it, so we went ahead and had our team in there too. And in the same track meet, our varsity guy broke the school record with a 4:25 mile. And I had a 4:50 mile in second place, about a quarter of a lap behind him. And it seemed like a quarter of a lap.
You said a 4:25
is what he set the school record at, and I was in second with a 4:50.
Jesus, even in the military, we had to go and run a 10-minute mile.
In the same track meet, one of our sprinters sprung his ankle doing the long jump, and I had to replace him in a 4x400 meter race. Same track meet. I got a 56-second quarter mile.
What? Just say that again.
56 seconds is what I ran the quarter.
In a quarter mile.
Yeah.
So you're fast. You're faster than say a road runner, or maybe a what's a good one? Don Perdone.
After that track meet, I was so tired. My best half mile was 1:04.
That's
my
insane.
Best quarter. No, I mean 2:04.
There must be pictures of you all over the walls.
Nah.
No,
there was a lot of us.
Well, you've got to be up on the walls, though.
I could be. I don't know. That junior varsity team, we went in.
Yeah.
12 varsity teams and our junior varsity team, and we took third.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Did you ever do any of that, Len?
That was when I lived in Missouri.
I once did a 12 point, I think it was 72 or something like that in the quarter mile. Under 13 seconds. Of course, now I was in a full-blown race car.
Oh,
And when you did that,
Yes, when I did that, I was
I'm like
I was
sitting
a
here
full
doing
blown
all
race
this
car.
math in my head. I'm like, hold on a minute.
you had
Hold on a minute.
you had two different ways to take that too, and you
Yeah,
took it the
I
right
put a
way.
V8 in front of me. It's what I did, not the
because
drink either.
you had us speechless. We didn't know what to say. Neither one of us did. It was
I
like,
got out of
wow.
high school. I didn't race anymore on my feet till I started playing baseball, and that's still not a race. But I did my racing with a V8 engine.
My a good
I
friend of
loved.
mine.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, and between that and all the bowling I did, and then the baseball, I really enjoyed baseball. Wholeheartedly
What
enjoyed
position?
baseball.
What position?
Well,
Right?
I'm a left-hander, and
Okay.
I'm a sprinter, so I was left field,
Oh God,
and so if
you can catch
I could
anything probably.
have that reach because the glove's on my right hand, and I've actually there was one, and I was a hitter. I could really hit a ball. Now I couldn't do my size. I think is what the factor was. I could not hit a home run to save my life,
Oh,
but I could get one bouncers off of the home run fence all day long, and I swang just a touch early, so while they're all shifting towards right field because I'm left-handed,
yeah. You put it over.
all of mine were going straight up the third base line.
Right.
And I had no home runs, but I had 11 triples in one season.
Well,
Because
why didn't anybody
I was
teach you?
sprinting around second base before the ball hardly hit the ground.
Why didn't they teach you about getting a little more loft on the ball? You could have hit quite a few home runs then, just by getting some air underneath it. It sounded to me like what you were saying was that they were all line drives.
Well, they weren't looking like line drives. It looked like they were going to go out, and then it just dropped just short. But I would be rounding second base before they even got to the ball,
right?
Because they were all
Right.
underestimating, thinking I was going to be hitting to the right field, and I was hitting to the left field, and then my accuracy, and it was probably because of all my bowling. When I threw a ball, when I was in left field, there was one particular play that was like in my opinion, was the highlight of my baseball outfielding. I thought I missed the plate, man. I was like, it was a one bouncer.
Okay, you got somebody coming home.
It was center field, and the guy was rounding third, and I was in left field. I outran the center fielder to the ball, and I just threw it just as hard as I could right at the home plate, and it was 6 feet or more away from the catcher, and I'm like, gosh darn it. And then out of nowhere, I had a lot of like my grandpa and a bunch of people around him stood up and gave like a standing ovation. Turned out, right?
He was out.
That the ball beat the runner. The catcher was standing like 8 feet off the plate, and my throw was a one bouncer directly over it. The catcher was not there.
Oh God.
And I was like, I was so
well, what the hell was he doing?
I don't know.
You should have went home, grabbed a bat, and beat him.
But my throw actually beat the runner across the plate.
Right, I understand.
Wasn't there to catch it.
That's an awesome throw.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And it wasn't until after the inning was over when I walked in, it got explained to me why everybody was like so excited, And then I was like, well, shoot, okay, maybe I shouldn't have been so upset with myself because I thought I missed the plate altogether because where the catcher was at.
Right.
And but
You
Yeah,
couldn't
it
see
was
the ball.
exciting. I loved baseball, man.
Yeah,
I
baseball.
always told the coach, usually a strong hitter, you would have them like hit second, third, fourth, or something like that. But I always told them to put me first because I hated it when I had a runner ahead of me and I'm rounding first and they're not moving. I got to stop at first, you know. If I
When
use
you
a
could have
second or third,
won in the 2.
yeah, and I can outrun them to home plate if somebody just pops it over the infield. So I always ask to be the first batter.
I always asked to be second because I could hit a ball a long ways. My freshman year in high school, I hit a slow pitch softball. I was standing one end zone. I hit it. It went over the goalpost, over the fence that separated the school grounds from the street, and hit the middle of the street.
Where was this at, Lon?
Jordan High School.
Which one?
Jordan High School in Columbus.
Oh, in Ohio.
Yeah, no, Georgia.
Georgia.
Mm-hmm. But I hit that saw. I did it several times.
Was it a
It
16?
went over 300 yards, over 100 yards.
Was it a 16 or 12?
Whatever we had, it was probably the cheapest ones. This was 1970, 71.
Well, I mean, we had different leagues that had 12-inch, which was fast pitch, and then you had the 16-inch, which was slow pitch.
Right. This was standard slow pitch, not the kind they play in Chicago.
Yeah, well, that's
the radius of the ball, like the diameter of the ball.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We played a lot of 16-inch, and then I played a lot of league. But 16-inch, when we got to high school, it was like they started telling us that no, don't. You're going to screw your eyes up so much that you're never going to hit a ball again.
I played softball one season, and I never. Every single time I was up, I got on plate. Every single time.
It was a great game. It comes highly recommended, but now I am so screwed up. I can't throw a baseball at all. I can't throw a football.
I haven't tried
because
lately
of my shoulders.
Right.
And I have my last grandson. He's 8 now, and he's been a terror up here in flag football for 2 years already. Starting off when he was 6. What did he play? He was a running back.
Running back, okay.
Yeah, but this is flag. This isn't
right.
And they're going to be starting now with contact. And I went ahead and when I first saw him run, it was like, you got to be kidding. He was moving and deking like Walter Payton. He'd watch stuff on.
You can't teach that. You cannot teach that. That's natural.
It was natural. He would go. He would cut to the right. He'd go probably about maybe 10, 12 steps. The pursuit would come across the field, and he would turn on a dime and head in the opposite direction. And he did that. I seen him score this last year, maybe about 8 or 9 touchdowns doing that.
Wow.
And he'd leave him just laying in the dust. And he's so cool, and he plays baseball too, league. And I've got some great grandsons. The bigger ones are 17. The oldest one is a junior in high school. And I'm Papa, and he's like up there above me. So it's between him and his brother, and his kid brother's like 2 years younger than him. And it's, hey, buddy, go on. He's got to give me a handshake, and then we hug. And he's another cool one, but he has hair that he looks like one of the Marx brothers. His hair is all curls on top of his head. and he played league ball, or he played tackle football, and they just were using him in the wrong direction, and he played his heart out, and he was one of the younger guys on the team, and he was playing basically a guard and tackle combination, and they were on defense, and he made this tackle, and there was a pile, and when he got up, he had his hand broke.
Wow.
And he grabbed his hand, and the game, it was like one of those games, and that was like about 89 degrees, and they're playing away, so we were all the way down by Brookfield, by the zoo. Riverside Brookfield, we were at their ballpark, and we ended up in that emergency room just north of there for like 6 hours after the game, because they couldn't decide what they were going to do with the hand, because the bones that were broken were the ones in here.
Ow.
And they had to go ahead and sort of, when it came time, they knew they had to do it, and they had to press them and pop them back into place.
Wow.
And then patch them up, and it was like, and then after that, I don't want to play no more football. And I says, listen, I played in the Catholic League in Chicago. 5th grade was our first year of tackle football. We did not have masks. Some of the kids didn't have helmets. Okay. And I was on the line, in about 10 or 12 plays in. Guess what happened? I came out of my stance, and all I caught was a knee right on my nose, which sort of splattered all over my face.
Oh, so that's what happened.
Yeah, that, and then my bottom lip has been redone 3 times already from hockey.
That explains a lot of stuff.
Your grandkids probably aren't getting much taller. You're just getting a short less every year, a 1 inch shorter every year.
I was waiting for you to say that. I'm like a what do they call them? Psychics. I started picking that up as soon as I said it. I thought, uh-oh, here he comes. He's coming right it's coming right at you.
Well, at least it's not women saying you're an inch shorter.
Yep. Well, that's for sure. They haven't said that yet, so I guess I have one thing going for me. Hope we don't have anybody that's a lady in the shed. We could be.
I shared the 2 of the destinations on my end.
Oh, you did? Oh, God. Then wait.
From the time I got in, we're also being seen in Wraith World and in my Led to the Light productions.
Oh, that's awesome. Good job.
This has been sports reporting so far.
Hey, Jamie Lynn Kellers.
Hey, Jamie.
Said, hey. And I believe good night, y'all. I can't read it. It says Facebook user, but that sounds to me like it's probably Kimmy.
From down in Alabama? Kimmy Corpse?
Yeah.
Yeah, they put, whoever it is, put several posts. They put this one to start with.
Also.
She says
maybe that wasn't Kimmy.
Did you interview? Who would it be, Len?
I don't know. I've done a show now for almost 3 years.
Yeah.
So, I don't remember. I think my first guest was Dale.
Oh, that's too bad. I'm sorry to hear that. No, that's good. That's a way to start off with some,
Yeah.
a guy with all those years in the paranormal field. Whether we like him or not, he's a brother as far as paranormal is concerned. But besides that, he looks like a funeral director. So
Hey, Reginald, I didn't tell you my highlight in baseball. I played right field, by the way,
Oh, okay.
and I was playing, and I think we had one out, and got on first. The hitter bounced it to our shortstop.
Jamie Lynn, I
But
want to talk to you
you,
next day or
you,
two.
you'd think, okay, double play, right? So he rushed the throw. He rushed it so much that the second baseman didn't get to second.
Oh
And
man.
next thing I know, I'm looking, and if you go by the books when you play right field, anytime a ball goes to short or third, you move over to where there's a straight line between you, second, and third base,
Right,
just in case this happens.
right.
Yeah.
99% of the time, you're just moving and got to walk back to where you were. But this one particular time, the ball goes whizzing out to right field. I charge it, catch the ball as it's rolling toward me, rifled it in, and the third baseman caught the ball at chest high, and I was halfway out and right. No bounce. The other
Oh.
time, the real highlight of my career, clean single. I'm waiting. I got my glove at chest high, thinking the ball's going to hit the one time and bounce up about 3 feet off the ground, 3, maybe 4 feet. So I'm sitting there waiting on the ball because I knew I couldn't catch it. Couldn't get to it in time to catch it. So I stopped, ready to catch it, and the damn thing hit one of the underground sprinkler things.
Oh no!
Instead of coming up to my chest where I was thinking it was going to get, it caught me square in the nutsack. I
Oh
threw the ball
boy!
to second base
How
so it
did you
wouldn't be a
how did you
double.
throw the ball?
I was determined to throw it. I was going, okay, this guy got a single. I'm going to hold him to a single. I threw the ball to second base. I didn't care if anybody was there or not. The ball was going to second base, and I just fell on the field.
God, Jesus Christ! Oh man!
I got the ball to second. Apparently, the second baseman was somewhere where he could catch it because I held the guy to a single. Needless to
That's
say, when we got the last out and we all went back in the rest of the game, said, okay, everybody's got to do the same sacrifice Lynn did. He took one off the nutsack for the team.
Wow.
God, jeez. Oh,
Yeah, I'll tell you
that
what.
that hurts.
One of the most painful ones that ever happened to me wasn't even during a game. It was during a practice, and we were playing catch. Just warming our arms up, playing catch. And once in a while, you throw pop flies or whatever to each other or hit them. And there was a ball coming at me at full speed, and I didn't know that, like on one of the last catches during the practice, that my webbing in my glove had busted.
Ooh.
And I went to catch it. I had my hand right here and went straight through the glove and hit me direct in the forehead. And the seam on the baseball, it looked like a Frankenstein stitch on my forehead. It like left the imprint of the seam.
Were you on the ground?
Well, I went down to one knee. I was seeing stars like you'd never seen stars before.
I had the team, and we were playing.
But it was just bleeding, and it had this shape on it.
We had about 45 minutes before we would call it because it was going to start getting dark. And my catcher, who wasn't my son that game, was behind. The son's in front of him now. This kid hit us a single. There was a guy on second base, and he's coming home. And the guys are going home, and you could hear everybody, you're going home, go home. He threw that ball, the catcher flipped his mask off, turned around like this to put his glove up to catch it. And the same thing, it hit him in the head right there. Before he hit the ground, I watched it rise up on his forehead. His dad was there. His dad came out. And the same thing. You can see both sets of stitches.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he was okay. He's dead now, but I mean, he was okay back then.
Didn't kill him.
No.
I got stitches on my ankle like y'all were talking about. Except, you remember I said I was a plate hog?
Mm-hmm.
Try getting hit with a 90 some odd mile an hour pitch and it catches you in the ankle.
Mm.
It just dead stop at your ankle. You can see the stitch marks for a week.
So you were a catcher?
No, I was batting at the time.
Oh.
I was hogging the plate and he was throwing at me.
Okay.
I got hit a bunch of times and I got thrown out even more.
Okay.
I always had a dirty uniform on because somebody would invariably throw a pitch at me and I'd hit the ground. That's why the catchers were always getting in my way because they just knew for sure I was going to charge the mound, but I never did.
I'm sorry. I thought it would be the opposite way, you know, that it would happen in the opposite.
Mm.
But
I never played catcher, not in baseball. That's not a position I want to do.
I'll never forget when we were doing our batting practice and they had a pitching machine.
yeah.
And the coach was like, keep hitting them, Reg, and he was standing there. They had all this fencing up and that. The coach would drop the ball into the pitching machine. I hit a ball, like one ball came off the bat straight as an arrow and like a rocket right into my coach's chest.
Wow.
And I'd never seen a 6'4" grown guy go down on one knee so fast in my life. I mean, it went right into his chest.
Oh, that's horrible.
I felt so bad for days.
Yeah.
And it really wasn't my fault. I just connected, you know. And
yeah. Reg, did you ever swing at a pitch so hard you ended up throwing the bat in the stands?
No.
I did that twice.
It's kind of funny because I like I said, I never really had enough power to go over the home run line, but I swing the bat at such a high miles per hour
Bat
that
speed.
you could hear the bat.
Mm.
I mean, you could hear it when I swing, and I swing at pitches where I didn't hit anything. People think I'm going to break my back, you know, because I would come around like so hard,
right,
with the bat. But it never hurt me.
A lot of times it was the best pitchers. If you get the guys that in your school that pitched the fastest, and you made real good contact with it, that ball was gone.
Mm.
Yeah, and I always swing early, just a touch, and out of habit. I don't, that's how I always swing. But I contacted a lot. I mean, I was one of those batters where I don't know what the world record is, but I think it might be like 21 pitches to one batter. Well, I was one of those batters where I would hit, 3 or 4 fouls and it would take them forever to strike me out.
My personal record was 14 foul balls before I struck out. 14.
That's a lot.
The umpire was threatening to call me out because I fouled so many off, or to charge, or me to pay for a case of balls because they all went out of the stadium.
Yeah.
But what, Reggie?
It doesn't even really wear out the batter. It's the pitcher that is paying the price.
Mm-hmm.
But
I didn't get any complaints in the dugout when I'd go 7, 8, 9, or that time I went 14, because that means the pitcher had to throw quite a few pitches over that just to get me. He's throwing 20 pitches to get me out because I figure if I struck out, had to throw 3 that I missed. Well, you know what? 2 of the fouls was he strikes. He had to throw at least 1 I missed, 13 foul balls, and whatever. So he threw quite a few pitches at me.
God almighty.
Yeah, 90% of the time, if I got out, it wasn't even a strikeout. It was it coming off the bat on the lower half of the bat, and the pitcher throwing it to first before I got there or something.
That's happened to me a few times. I was bad about hard line drives to the shortstop.
Oh man!
I always have a pitcher said, "You don't like my shortstop? You got something against him?" When
Yeah, you just like rocket, man.
Second at bats,
trying to kill him.
He caught the ball just to self defense. I said, "I don't even know your shortstop, dude." I wouldn't try to do anything but get on base.
Oh God!
And I'm upset about anything is him catching both those hard balls.
Oh man!
Because if they gotten past him, that would have split the outfielders, and it'd probably been a double because it would have went all the way to the wall.
And there was only one single time that we were down in pitchers, and I went up to the plate to pitch. One single time, and I'm trying to remember exactly what it was. Though they didn't get any hits on me. There was like 2 outs left, and I struck 2 out. That was the only time I ever pitched.
The only time.
Yep, the only time I mean in an organized game of baseball, like
well, that's probably not a bad thing because you still have an arm.
Yeah,
there's a lot of kids that pitched in high school. But
again, though, I wasn't like by any means no 95-mile-an-hour pitcher, but I was due to bowling, I think.
Oh,
You look at your mark. And just don't try to hit it. Just look at it, and the ball will go over it and bowl it. And that's what I was doing at the plate. I was just looking at the glove of the catcher and throwing it directly to it.
One of my best friends in baseball was a second baseman. And when we graduated, he went to the Air Force Academy. And I tried to, to stay in school and do the shit. And I bounced around. And finally I went ahead and said, that's it. I'm gone. Because my number was up and it was time for me to go. And he happened to he graduated out of the Air Force Academy and became an F-4 pilot in Vietnam. And I actually visited him twice in northern Thailand in a place called Ubon. And this was my time when I used to come in and out of country for the first 4 months. That's basically what I did all the time. And I pleaded with him. I says, I got to get up in that. Can you take me up? I don't. Well, steal a suit. Who the hell's going to know? And he finally just said, "Hey, Greg, that's not going to work. If something would happen, And I said, well, if it happens, it happens. I'm not going to be. You think I'm going to be pissed if I'm still alive? And it was like, no. And then I had shit that happened to me over there that is just total crazy. Absolute crazy. Things that you don't think of, It gets to the point where you're sitting there, you've got 11 months under your belt. You're leaving, you're going overseas, and you get called into the office, and the first sergeant goes ahead and looks at you and goes ahead and says, I've got a job for you. And he takes the paper, slides it across the desk, and he says, you like to fish. Check this out. And you know what it was? It was for a river patrol boat. And I was that close, and she doesn't even know it. I was that friggin' close to signing it, and I would have been on the Mekong
Wow.
Oh wow.
all the time.
Greg,
Yeah,
what kind of plane did you say the guy flew?
it was an F4 Phantom.
Phantom. Oh wow.
The big it's a big
Yeah,
plane.
I know. The big plane. They had two people in it, so
Yep.
he could have taken you up for a ride. Just sat back in the back seat.
No, he couldn't because at that
Uh,
point they were going to go. They would have put me in jail and not let me out if I would have got caught,
mm-hmm.
military or no military. And he would have lost. He wouldn't have flew anymore.
No.
It would have been all over. So I was at the point where it wasn't that important, even though I wanted to do it. And I already flew on Hueys, so that was no major thing. But I only had 4 months of Hueys, which was a lot better than the 12 months of Hueys.
Right.
A lot better.
Had a friend of mine. He was. I'm trying to remember what plane it was. You remember the last plane with guns? It was a Vault Crusader.
You're talking about the Navy plane?
Yes.
Voight. Yeah,
Voight.
the Voight. Yeah. Crusader.
Yes, he was flying one of those, training off Florida.
Yeah.
And 83.
He had a flame out and crashed.
Don't know. He radioed in, said everything was fine. He was over the Bermuda Triangle, right on the edge of it.
And they never found him.
Completely disappeared.
Fuck. Excuse my language. I'm sorry.
Had to have a picture at his funeral sitting on a table.
Hi, Barbara.
Because there was, no body, no plane, no nothing. He just disappeared. So when people talk about the Bermuda Triangle, I have a rather close friend of mine. We went to school 7 years in the same elementary school. Went to separate junior highs for 1 year, and then we went together for 4 years of high school together.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And he just disappeared like that. So when you start talking about the Bermuda Triangle, I've got somebody I'd like to try to find in that thing if they're going to another dimension or whatever. Or man has come up and got them.
That the whole thing could be alien thing. The whole place could be that because of the Avengers, which were the torpedo bomber,
right?
Squadron 6 or whatever it was.
They got all confused.
And those guys were veteran pilots.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Those guys had been in the war. So, I mean, there wasn't any of them there that didn't know what the hell they were doing. Yeah. Just a tip. You've got cable TV?
I got satellite, not cable.
Okay. Have you seen this series called Masters of the Sky?
Masters of the Air, yeah.
Yeah.
I have not seen it because I do not pay for that channel. But I've seen a lot of reviews off of it.
It's worth going ahead and running it.
So I've heard, and from the previews that I've seen, the actual reviews, which show half the show, that's a very good series that I would love to actually have either on my DVR or have the DVD collection.
They'll probably come out with it just like they did Band of Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's just this last week, the waist gunner is 50 jammed up on him, and they had a piece of metal back in the day that would be you could screw it into the cylinder, and you could pull back on the firing mechanism to get rid of a shell. And they actually showed him doing that in the middle of shooting.
Right. I saw that in the review. That's just incredible stuff.
It was. I mean, they never show any of that stuff. They didn't even do that in any of the other movies. You know.
But how about that one where the two friends? I think one of them was, I forget the position he had. There was two people left on the plane, the ball turret guy and him, and he tried to get the ball turret guy was screaming at him to get him out of there.
Yeah, and he couldn't get him out.
Couldn't get him out, so he has to open up one of the doors and dove out of the door. As soon as he got out the door, it blew up.
Yep.
Hey, I figured out who that Facebook user was.
Who is it?
Courtney Carras.
Courtney who?
Karos.
No, Karis.
Karis.
Yeah.
That's who that was.
Okay. Good night. Good night, Courtney.
So I guess that must have been who you interviewed or something, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, she's been on the show. I didn't know that was her, but she said I interviewed her, so yeah, I remember the name.
Yeah, she's a nice girl.
You meet in the paranormal, you meet a lot of screwballs. You meet some people that are just either in it for the money, they're in it for entirely the wrong reason, they're in it for fame and fortune. And some of them are just bad people that want to bully somebody. But then again, you meet a lot of nice people.
She's had a rough road. She's back. She just has to slow down. Me and Reggie both knew her quite a bit.
Okay.
A while ago, and it wasn't good times, and needed to go ahead and take it easy. She's on the rebound, and that's all you can say.
Yeah.
And I hope she's thankful for where they put her, because there could be a lot worse things that would have happened. True. You know what I mean? And it's like, and she's a woman. Not that she can't defend herself. I'm just saying, that in the world today, you have people that live with you or in the same building and everything, and the next thing you know, somebody's missing. Just like you said earlier. You just don't know today. You just have no idea, how many. They were talking. I was listening to something. What was it, about 2 weeks ago? And they said that they think in the United States alone, or in North American continent, there's like 150 serial killers that are actively doing what they say. How could that be? It's something that you just think about, and it's like, what? And then you think back about all the people that we knew, and Gacy. Chuck Fox, right?
Chuck Fox.
Charles Fox, or Charles Williams.
Charles Williams.
He's the documentarian from Dale's group.
Okay.
I've worked with him on. I have credits on, I think, 3 documentaries now. Okay, cool. As being part of the crew, and I ran this and that, and he's amazing. He, I don't know why he does things on his own all the time. He's always an individual. He doesn't, he does things that he wants to do. For instance, 2 or 3 years ago, he decided that his spring trip was going to be on Old Route 66. and he was going to take it from the beginning where it started and all the way over to the West Coast. And he did it, and he photographed the whole entire thing. So he has a big album of pictures on Route 66.
Wow.
And he's done this at different places too. And I'm pretty close with him because him and I, we're friends with Dr. Chuck Kennedy. And that reminds me, I have to go ahead and make a phone call to him. Christina Rake?
Yeah.
Do you know her, Lenny?
I don't think so. I'm trying to think of that name. I don't think so.
She's a reverend. Now she's a archbishop in the old Catholic Church. She gave us the blessing when we were going to do the documentary at Bachelor's Grove. She was there and called us all together, and we were all in a circle, and she said a bunch of prayers and blessed us, and then handed out medals to us. Each one of us got a medal.
Cool.
And I'm still friends with her, and I have to call her and talk to her and see if I can't go ahead and get her on my show.
That would be cool if you could.
Well, she's been on before a couple times, but I would want her on and Dr. Chuck Kennedy, who is Project Psi.
Okay.
And that's from the South Side. Well, actually, now it's it's not. It's St. Charles. And he has all the psychic mediums that do all the work for the missing cases.
Okay.
So in
That
other
would be
words,
cool to have them on your show.
well, I would only have him and
Okay.
her, because the people that do the work are quiet. In other words, nobody knows anything about them.
Hey Reggie, it's almost midnight, right? Don't you have to get up in the morning?
Yeah, I need to go to sleep here pretty soon.
Yeah, we better call it.
Yeah, it's almost midnight.
I didn't think it was this late. And
Yeah.
we'll have to.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yep, 2 weeks out, we should come up with some things on the situation that we're talking about. So.
Let me know when you wanted to do it.
Okay. You have to remind us because we're busy people like
Right.
you are.
Yeah.
So I mean, we have to work together on that point, but we'll get it done.
We can talk about it,
Sure.
and we can figure it out.
And thanks for having us on tonight.
I'm glad y'all were here.
Oh yeah.
That's for
Appreciate you
sure.
being here, Regina and Greg.
Yeah, I am
Thank you.
surprised I woke up. I was knocked out. I was knocked out like pretty hard.
Did you hear the phone ring?
No, I had all the volumes down on everything.
Oh,
I think I must have shifted my. I think I shifted my weight in the chair and heard the chair squeak or something. Because I was right here. This is where I was. I was knocked out, sitting up in the desk chair.
Wow.
Yeah, I told you I was tired.
I know.
And I think sometimes if the desk chair swivels a little bit, and if my weight goes a certain direction, the chair will go like this and make my body go what?
Yeah. I've fallen asleep in this chair a few times when my elbow slips off the arm of the chair, my head goes down, and I headbutt the arm of the chair, and I wake up.
I can't sit that way, or I can't fall asleep that way. I do, but when I do, I pay for it with my neck. So my neck is all screwed up. I got a couple crushed vertebrae, and
Ooh.
They're calcifying in the center, and it's closing the core or the center part of your spinal column where the nerves go down, and it's calcifying up, and it's causing immense pain.
Mm.
So
I've had a pain in the neck a few times, but I always broke up with her.
yeah,
Eh,
I wish I did. I wish it was that easy.
Hey, one of the biggest pain in the necks, her father was a German national, and her mother was an Italian national.
You got to be kidding.
Mm-mm.
German and Italian.
Yep, German and Italian.
Holy crap!
And she got a black belt in Taekwondo. And I was dating this.
Oh man. Glutton for punishment, man.
Yeah. One night I was out with her and another girl. Come to find out, she was on witness protection from a biker trial in L.A.
Oh my God.
So the only person she could think of was her half sister, who lived in Columbus and knew me, knew my girlfriend. So she was out there hanging out with us. And one night we went to a strip club and got bazookaed.
Oh,
So the club's closing. We're walking out the door, and about 5 or 6 GIs in this pickup truck was catcalling us because here I was, a guy walking out with 2 chicks. And they
good.
said something rude. And of course, the GI said something back. And the pickup truck stopped. There was a few words exchanged. And we basically dared. Was at least 6 guys in that truck. And I'm there with 2 women. And we're ready to take on 6 GIs.
Oh God.
Mano a mano in the parking lot.
That ain't no good.
They decided to drive off. Well, fortunately so, the girl that was there in witness protection, I helped get her a job as a temp for laying the lines on telephone poles.
Oh boy.
She quickly got to where she was going up the poles and attaching the wires.
Oh man.
So this girl was about 5'5", about 120 pounds.
I've got to pee.
Muscle.
I got to go pee. I'll be right back.
Okay.
well, he can
So
still hear you though.
Yeah. And then
He
the
has
other girl,
headset on.
and with Taekwondo, she was about 5'6", and wider shoulders than I had.
No.
And of course, I'd also taken Taekwondo from a South Korean 8th degree back in the 70s. So that's why none of the 3 of us were scared about taking on 6 GIs. Hey, it's Saturday night. Somebody's going to get punched in the face.
I've been called a pain in the ass before by girlfriends.
I think almost all my girlfriends called me that. My
You know
wife
what I
calls me
always-
that
you,
sometimes.
you know what I always said?
What?
And it got me into more trouble than what it was worth, though.
What did you say?
I would always say, well, are you sure it's not because your head's always up there? That's so funny.
Mm-hmm. My wife will sometimes tell me you're a pain in the butt or in the neck or something. I said, well, you said yes. I asked you one question. You said yes. So that's on you. She said, yeah, I know. Talking about proposing to her.
Oh, yeah.
22, worked on 23 years.
Yeah. Yeah, this June will be 4 years for me and Christy.
Congratulations.
Oh, yeah.
How did guys
July,
like me?
July.
Huh?
No, it'd be July 31st.
July 31st. Okay. How did guys like me and you find women willing to marry us?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it had to do with, well, I'm into classic cars and stuff, and her whole family is.
Okay,
And
there you go.
I'm also a musician, and so I play guitar and sing. And
Were you up last night when Anthony was driving his Corvette?
No.
I was the other day. Yeah, I don't remember what day it was.
Did you see him when he was doing 140?
Yeah, remember? Yeah, we were on the same thing. I was in the car with him, like you were. He came into our podcast,
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
if I remember correctly.
He came into your podcast doing 140 miles an hour in a car.
No,
He went from 70 to 130 or so in like less than 5 seconds. That is he's got a 2012 Corvette. He calls the race.
Okay,
that
that's understandable.
it is an absolute mother screamer. Is the only way to say it, and we're still alive, so that's why I cut that word out. But I've been in cars way back, freshman in college in the UP of Michigan, doing when a blueprinted Camaro. It was the first time, it was the second day he owned it. His father was a big shot in Detroit, and it had a blueprinted engine on it. And 4 days after I was with him in the car, he totaled it and almost killed himself.
Wow.
And we were running pretty fast cars, but my car was a 66 Ford GT 390 and Ford Fairlane GT. And that
Boy, don't
thing,
you wish you still had that car?
oh, you couldn't keep it on the road.
Yeah, but I mean, if you just had that, if you had it with a few miles locked up in a garage somewhere, you know how much people would give you for that car now?
Yeah, a lot.
A lot.
I had it here. When we moved up here we came up here in '76. I brought it up here, and I ended up selling it to a neighbor whose father did work on cars down south. And about maybe 10 years after that, it was still running around the town here. Every once in a while, I would see it. I haven't seen it lately, so I figured it's gone. But it wasn't really a green color. It was like a greenish gold type.
Well, Greg, why don't we let Reginald go to bed because it's after midnight now.
Yep, we're gonna go to bed. Okay, we'll be talking to you, Len.
Just don't go to bed with each other.
No, there's no way I can crawl through the screen.
Good night, Reginald. I appreciate you being here.
Okay, we'll see you later, Len. Good night, Reggie. Okay.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Say good night, Greg.
Good night, Greg.
All right. That was the end of our show tonight. Gosh, we didn't really get the spirit box going. I guess we'll have to do that another time. But boy, I hope you enjoyed the sports tonight. Oh boy, that's what you get when you get a couple of baseball players together. Anyway, liable to go crazy. Anyway, I'm glad y'all listened to me. All of y'all that saw it live, made comments in the chat room, and those of you who are in the future, and how's the future doing, by the way, to all those people who will watch this show on the podcast networks, because this is automatically being put to Spotify and all the other favorite podcast networks. I was going to do something tonight, maybe do a little spirit box section myself, but I don't have anybody watching now. So I'm thinking about just going ahead and shutting it down for the night. And if there was somebody in the chat room, I'd say, let's go for it. But there's nobody in the chat room, so I'm thinking about just going ahead and shutting it down. Yeah, let's do that. All right. Good night, everybody, and don't let the ghosts wake you up in the middle of the night. Y'all take care. And I am so out of here. This show's been going on long enough. Bones, play us the outro, please, sir.
Thanks for watching our show. Be sure to tune in to next week as once again we journey way down south into Bayou Country for another heaping portion of Southern Fried Paranormal with Len Dorman and Bones. Make sure to like, share, and follow. Y'all come back now. You hear?